All right, so let's go ahead and get this show on the road since we don't stand on ceremony so much. We've already started. So today is the all hands and quarterly board meeting for the New York State CDFI Coalition, and I am Colleen Ryan. I'm the consulting executive director for the New York State CDFI Coalition, and I'm so glad that you all could join our all hands Zoom today. While most of you are New York State CDFI executives, we do have a few special guests. So here's an elevator soundbite of what New York State CDFIs, or community development financial institutions, do. We provide financial services and education for low-income New Yorkers. We leverage federal and private dollars for economic development. We create market-based solutions that provide capital to chronically underserved communities across the state. And we promote responsible alternatives to predatory loans. Since 1995, the New York State CDFI Coalition has been the organizer and catalyst for strategic initiatives that help CDFIs in the communities they serve. The coalition provides a collective voice, allowing our members to stay locally focused while delivering impact associated with increased scale. That's one of the reasons we launched these all hands meetings. During the pandemic, the New York State CDFI Coalition board got into a cadence of meeting by Zoom once a week at lunchtime. These Friday noon Zooms gave CDFI executives from across the state the chance to compare notes, express frustration, and collaborate on some of the biggest challenges of their careers. At least one of them noted that membership in the CDFI Coalition is a lot cheaper than therapy. So we thought it would be a good idea to extend this opportunity to our members and convene a meeting every other month where we could share business updates, celebrate milestones, and ask the people who made them possible. Oh, and celebrate milestones and the people who made them possible, and give everyone a chance to ask questions. So the floor is yours. What would you like to talk about? Funding and financing, best practices, legislative issues, products or services for CDFIs, special events or job postings, the CAP program, as we've already gotten into. So we will have an opportunity to have discussions around all those things. But what I'd like to do just to get started is, for the folks who are already on the call, would you kindly go around and introduce yourselves? And I know that this is complete free for all because everybody's screens are in a different order than mine are. So I'm just going to count on you all to introduce yourself once and let the next person go. So please begin.
I'll start. Aisha Benson from True Fund Financial Services.
Kelly Stern, Springbank.
Karen Haycox, Habitat for Humanity, New York City Community Fund.
Linda McFarland, Community Loan Fund in Albany, New York.
Victoria Dooley, Adirondack Economic Development Corporation in Saranac Lake.
Hi, folks.
Yeah.
I knew that was going to happen.
Right? I'm surprised it took so long to happen.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'll just go. This is J.R. Dorsonville from Sobro Credit Inc.
Hey there.
Delia Yarrow from INHS.
Hi, Delia.
Hi, folks. I'm Mika Josefi with the Cooperative Fund of New England, I think soon to be the Cooperative Fund of the Northeast.
Hi, Mika.
And I'm Jules Epstein-Hebert with Inclusive.
Hello, hello. John, I saw your lips moving, but I did not hear audio. So can you try that again? You don't seem to be on mute, but maybe your audio is not hooked up. Nope. Sorry, guy. You want to try again? Because you got a starring role in this at some point. So maybe try to log in and log out and log back in. All right. Who have I not heard from? Kim?
Kim
I'm Warren from.
Oh,
retired.
And Warren?
Warren Goodrich from Brooklyn Co-op.
Okay. How about Jessica? Well, I don't have audio for you either, Jessica. You're not muted, but I don't have audio. Dang.
Jessica's from our office, Colleen.
Oh, okay.
She's from ADC also. I can speak for her.
Well, North Country in the house. Thank you for coming. All right. How about Madeline? With her fancy
Good afternoon to all. I'm Madeline Marquez, representing Ponce Bank.
Thank you, Madeline. Yankee might be going to eat lunch. I know she had a paratha bread in her hand. So, oh no, she's back. Okay.
No, I was just heating it. Yeah. Yankee Shearing from a company Capital in New York City.
Okay. How about Giovanna? Oh, I just saw Giovanna come and go. Not Giovanna.
Giovanna Miller from ESD.
Okay.
Nice to actually see some faces. COVID
Right?
has kind of stopped me from seeing and meeting everyone, but I'm glad
Yeah.
to be able to put faces to the names.
And I just saw Giovanna Brocchi from La Fuerza go on and come back, or she was on, but now she's gone, so we'll have her come back. How about Anya?
Hello, this is Anya Irons from Homeownership Lending in New York.
Hello, Anya. Welcome, Pilgrim. How about Christina?
Hello. I am Yeri of UHAB, the Urban Homesteading Assistance Board.
How about Christina from Salt City?
Can you hear me?
I can now.
Oh,
Yeah.
there you go. All right, sorry about this. Christina Sove from Cooperative Federal in Syracuse.
Thank you. And how about Babby? Babby is one of our special guests.
Good morning. I am a huge fan of all of your work, and I'm with Social Venture Circle and a membership network of impact investors who are interested in learning how they can invest in your great work. So thanks for letting me join you.
Thanks, Babby. We're happy to have you. All right, so let's get the show on the road. Oh, darn, John hasn't rejoined us yet. We do have a vote to take today. This is technically a quarterly meeting of the board of the New York State CDFI Coalition. So as one of those things, we are entrusted with filling vacancies on the board. And with the quasi-retirement of Kim Jacobs from CCNY, who served many years as our treasurer, we were down a treasurer. So John Felton has agreed to serve as treasurer, but he has not yet rejoined our call. So we can always elect him in absentia. That's what we often do, right? So you weren't here. Sorry, you're the president. Why don't we wait for John to come back just in case he wants to say a few words. So I do have a few updates just from the kind of overarching structure of the New York State CDFI Coalition. We have a couple of important initiatives that we've taken on this year, despite the pandemic and all that you have been doing to respond to that. And one is the New York State CDFI Investor Club, and that's how we met Babby Jacobs, and that's how we're meeting a lot of potential social impact investors to our CDFIs. So what I wanted to do, I'm going to try to share my screen here because, oh no, did I not? I've closed it. All right, we'll just go here. I've added a new page to the New York State CDFI Coalition website, and it's basically a recap of all of our meetings that we've had with the Impact Finance Center. So let me pull it up, Investor Club, here we are. So a number of you have participated in these calls and find value in it. But I think there's still a lot of confusion and like, what exactly are we doing and why is it significant? So let me just, I will now share my screen and I will pull up the new page that we have on the website. So it has a description of the Investor Club and all that good stuff. But what's also there, what's really important, which I would encourage you all to take advantage of, is in order to view any of the resources that we've created on this through this partnership with Impact Finance Center, you have to create a membership with Impact Finance Center. So we've shared the link a number of times. Not everyone has availed themselves of it. It gets lost in the email. You're busy. I get it. So what I've done now is set up a page on our website under programs called Investor Club. You have to follow this link to sign up right here, the NYS CDFI path. When you do, you will come up to a screen that shows you all of our previous webinars. There are recordings of all of our webinars. So you can go in and view, oh, we had an informational webinar in February. You can watch the recording. You can see what was said. So all that's now available on our website. It was a labor of love yesterday, I can assure you. So let me close that and just go back. What I've done is I've broken out through each of the programs that we've already had, who the investment speakers were. So we've had ARCA Foundation, Rockefeller Foundation, we had Babby Jacobs from Social Venture Circle. Who among our CDFIs have already spoken, whether they did a panel discussion moderated by Andrea Longton, either in her role as OFN or social impact or social justice investor. and the folks who have also done quick pitches. So we have a list of who's participated. We have a list of the foundations that have who have participated. We have the upcoming programs if you want to sign up for them. And we have our sponsor who we want to thank, which is to date, our sole sponsor of this effort has been the Disability Opportunity Fund. Charlie Hammerman is on our board, and he was kind enough to step up and take the first bite at the apple for this program. So this Investor Club series, I'm going to stop sharing the screen now. This Investor Club series has had a cost over the course of the year to the New York State CDFI Coalition of $75,000. It's not an insignificant cost when our annual budget is about $100,000 a year. You know, my salary is part-time, and that's a big lift for us. So we average about $40,000 a year in membership. So if you have not yet become a member, I urge you to do so. And we average about the same $40,000 or $45,000 in CRA grants from our bank friends. So we're plugging along with all those things, but we appreciate your support and hope that you can continue to support our efforts, especially around the Impact Finance Center and that the effort to uncover and foster social impact investors. Does anyone have any questions about that? Do you find that resource on the website now helpful? Is it something that, can I see a show of hands? Has anybody signed up and looked at those recordings? I didn't think so. All right, so please please go to the website, look under the program tab, and you can enjoy some recordings of our previous conversations. You know, Yanki said something really insightful in our last meeting. She and one of her investors was featured. And she said that, you know, she found these meetings that Impact Finance Center puts together really empowering because, you know, we often don't think of ourselves as being able to reach out to social impact investors directly and say, this is what we do, and this is why it's important, and we hope you'll support us. So, Yanki, do you want to amplify that, or does anybody have anything to add or observations on our partnership so far with IFC?
Yeah, no, definitely. I felt there, you know, I look at them as, you know, practice sessions also. So when we are in front of a potential investor that maybe wants to invest like 100 million, no, 5 million or, you know, 200,000. I mean, we did get an investment through the Google's Grow with Google Small Business Program of 2 million. It's through OFN. But I found them extremely, you know, helpful in making us sort of relook at ourselves as potential for investments from, you know, very diverse investors.
So let's go back now. I see John Felton has rejoined us, and I hope we can hear you. Nope, still can't hear you. I'm sorry, John. Well, don't go away. You can at least smile and wave. What I would like to ask, we have a number of members of the coalition on the call at the time, but there are some of you, I think, who are not yet members. So, you know, just it's the honor system. Do we have, who would like to call a vote? Do we have somebody from the nominating committee? Or Linda, would you like to call for a vote?
Here. I can
Okay.
do it.
Aisha or Linda, you can arm wrestle for this. Somebody needs to call a vote for the position of treasurer on our officers.
Okay, I'll do it. Like to take a vote on John Felton serving as treasurer of the board for the New York CDFI Coalition.
And
I
John,
have someone.
John is the head of the Southern Chautauqua Federal Credit Union. So he's our West Coast rep, our Western New York rep.
The good news is if John is not interested in doing this, we can't hear that. So
sorry,
we'll take his smile as a yes. And John's been a faithful member of the board for several years now, and a great host. We all went up and visited him, so I really endorse him and would like to see if there's a motion.
So make the motion.
Thank you, Linda. Linda as our chair. So all those in favor, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand. I can't vote, but
Aye.
Aye.
any opposed? Any abstentions? Congratulations, John. You are hereby designated treasurer of New York State CDFI Coalition.
Can you hear me now? I think
Yes.
All right. Sometimes anxiety can be used for a good thing. So thank you. I'm glad to help out. And when I was approached, I was reminded that a lot of the work is done for us because Colleen does a great job, and we've made some changes on some of the back end. So I'm looking forward to assisting in any way that I can. Thank you for the kind words.
Thank you, John, and thank you as well for your kind words. All right, so let's move on to our next agenda item, which is our New York State CDFI Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Training. Now, that's another tab that I just updated on the website. If you go under programs, I can't remember whether they called it Making Change or DEI training, but this is something that we've embarked upon with Jennifer Rutledge from Delphi Consulting. And it's, you know, if you got the agenda for today's call, it says prep over the summer. Well, the summer's gone and here we are, and we're still prepping, but that's kind of, I think, the motto for 2021. So it's kind of gotten away from us. So what I'd like to do, because what we had discussed as a board is that we wanted to try to take the pulse of our membership and find out where people are in their own agencies or organizations with diversity, equity, and inclusion, whether it's about policies or practices or meetings or studies or trainings, whatever you may be doing. So if I could just open the floor right now to our members and the people on this call, and if there is something that, all right, Melanie's got to run. If there is something that you or your organization has already undertaken that you would like to share with us, please let us know, because that's going to be the first step. I want to find out where everybody is, if everybody's started doing something, and then we can take that to Jennifer and try to, you know, piece together what people might have done and what they may be able to share. So who would like to go first? Let us know what's happening.
I'm happy to go first if you'd like, Colleen. Hello, everybody. Karen Haycox, Habitat New York City Community Fund, soon to be active across the state. We are at Habitat, we undertook in some earnest an approach around the diversity, equity, inclusion, and justice, DEIJ. In the alphabet soup, we settled on the J. That was important to us. And we've been doing for my staff, I've been focusing most specifically on my staff in terms of some education relative to the role of housing. We see housing, obviously, at Habitat for Humanity at the crosshairs of this around policy and redlining and that sort of thing. And so really educating our staff around the racist history of housing policy and really taking some aggressive stands around trying to play an active role in changing that. We're also looking at modifying some of our modeling for housing to provide a seat at the table and a real pathway towards equity for ownership, housing, home ownership, which is often forgotten in the housing world when we talk about affordable housing, as many of us on the call who know, we really mean rental. And at Habitat, we have a laser focus on elevating marginalized communities to the role of homeownership and how that can play a stabilizing role in their lives. So we've been doing a lot of training around that. We've been facilitated moderated discussions. We've also taken moments for thoughtful reflection across the staff, which I think is really imperative, so that people who look like me aren't doing all of the talking and that there is some authentic engagement from across the diverse staff. We actually, July 1st was our fiscal year, and this year, the entire year is about benchmarking a DEIJ component, which is, again, holistic across the staff and across my boards, all of them, both at the CDFI and at the Habitat for Humanity in New York City and Westchester County level. So we're doing some assembling cohorts, and there's a number of sort of channels and tracks that's being modified. We actually took the step of engaging with Community Resource Exchange, and they are moderating this stuff, an external facilitator. And we intend to at the end of this year, do a summary report and actually look at how we talk about the work that we do, modify the languaging that we use. And also, and I should also mention, one of the things that we've really focused on and actually had some really good success in is our recruitment practices, because we've been very, very intentional around where we publish and where we seek to fill vacancies. So we're just at the beginning stages of it, but we have been planning it for some time, and I'm really excited about the conversations that are happening organically internally, and some of the milestones that we're starting to see good progress towards.
Thank you, Karen, and I want to thank you for your leadership on the ad hoc committee that we've pulled together to pull this out for the CDFI coalition. Anyone else have work?
Yeah, Karen, I absolutely agree how it's going to take a lot of time, and it's going to take baby steps that turn into larger steps. Chautauqua County, one of the poorest counties, if not the poorest county in New York State. We are primarily a white county, only about 10% Hispanic population in the county, but my credit union has taken that opportunity on. I'm proud to say we have 15% of our staff as bilinguals. And I think that, you have to walk the walk, and before you can talk the talk, you got to have the grassroots, the individuals, and getting our staff to believe in us is what's enabling us to break into the community. We're having a hard time getting some Hispanic representation on our board. We've made some invites to 3 who just don't have the trust in us just yet, I think. So we're going to continue to work on that side of it. But we've also had to take a look at something as simple as our dress policy. Different cultures have different normal dress and tattoos and piercings and whatnot. So we're trying to break down the stigma of things that typically people might be shocked at. And we're trying to look like the community that we serve. It's going to be a process, though, before I think we can get some more in our frontline management team and on our board of directors. It's going to take some more time.
May I say something?
By all means.
At Inclusive, we have been working towards this. I think we may not be as far along as Karen and Habitat for Humanity's here, but we established a DEI committee at Inclusive among staff, and also I think there's one at the board level as well about a year ago. And we've basically, in terms of training and processes and putting a plan in place, we're at the point where we've just sort of settled on a consulting group to sort of guide us through this process. And we're going to be beginning trainings and sort of a project around this in November. But one thing I did want to highlight, and this was highlighted in an article that was shared amongst our group, is that not so much at the board level, but at the staff level, when you develop a DEI committee, it's often sort of those that are most passionate about this work, but they're kind of expected to do this on top of all their other priorities and work. And so it can kind of recreate some of the inequities that we see by sort of, so anyway, I just wanted to put that out there because that's something that we at Inclusive are working towards, correcting and finding a solution to.
That's good to point out. And we did, I do want to thank Aisha Benson in particular for helping us secure a grant from US Bank to cover the cost of the consultant and of my time to pull this DEI work together. So we certainly appreciate her good offices and the support of US Bank. So again, that's another resource that's on the website. If you have questions, please, you can always drop me an email. It's Colleen@nyscdfi.org. So you can always drop me an email if you have questions that you want to share with the with your colleagues, in CDFI land. I'm happy to pass them along. So one of I'm vamping right now because it's 12:28 and we are expecting Judy Messina to join us at 12:30, and I did just hear from her, and she is still planning to join us. So we're gonna talk amongst ourselves until she can join us. One of the things that we had started talking about actually before a lot of you actually came on the call was Giovanna Miller is here from Empire State Development, and she had some updates around the CAP program. So can you share with us, Giovanna, what you were sharing with Yankee before we officially got started?
Yeah, so some of you may be aware, the CAP program is set to expire September 21st, which is Tuesday. We are currently in process of trying to create like CAP, we're nicknamed it CAP 2.0, which would basically be a new loan loss reserve program. We're still trying to figure out if we're going to allow a rollover, if we're going to implement a brand new program. So if you're currently in the CAP program, your contract it states that you are allowed to take 25% of your loan loss reserve. What we're throwing around is if we're going to give the option to either keep the full 100% and roll that over into the new account, or just revamp a completely different program altogether and start from scratch. So I hope to have more concrete information for you within the next week or so. Ray and I are kind of like in the finalizing process of it.
Great, that's good news. Colleen, I have two, if I might have two items that are related to
Sure.
Empire State. So, and Giovanna, I hope in no way am I talking out of turn, but we had a call with Ray and Giovanna and a couple of other people with regard to the large grant program that went out to small businesses. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, the 800 million, right?
Yeah, and the surprising number of grantees who don't have business bank accounts. So I believe they're pulling together a list of banks and credit unions and the features of some of our accounts that would be willing and able to open accounts for folks. So I'm just putting it out there. If you have clients that you know or learn about have gotten these grants but can't get the funds because they don't have the right account. And Giovanna, correct me if I'm wrong, they need to have a business banking account, right? It can't just be a savings account, personal account.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So, and I don't know exactly when that email or list will be going out, but something's in the works to try to get people, I assume sooner rather than later. The number was, I don't recall the number, but it was a huge, really large, surprising number of grantees without business banking accounts. Right?
10 million.
10 million?
In awards, 10 million worth of awards, I believe, right, Giovanna?
Wow.
No, we're actually up to about 80 million in awards. As of yesterday, we're up to 80 million.
Without accounts?
Oh, without accounts, no. Total is 80 million. I don't know the specific number. Ray knows that number better than I do. Without accounts.
That's what I thought. I'm also putting something in the chat if the credit unions want to send.
Yeah.
Their sort of information on opening a business account, I can pass that along to ESD as well.
Yeah. But the problem is that most of the people are the gig workers and the Uber drivers that don't have the business accounts.
So it makes for an interesting problem.
Okay. I am delighted.
Wait, one more.
All right.
One more quick thing.
That's right. You had
It's not really quick, but I just want to put out there that we also learned in our recent conversations with Empire State that there, and we sort of knew this, that there was absolutely, as I'm sure everybody, I hope everybody knows, there was $5 million available this year for CDFIs and a new pool of funds. The original proposal was 25 million over 5 years, or the original, our understanding was 25. No guarantee that the additional $20 million is available over the next 4 years. So I think it will behoove us to put our heads together, at least 24 on this call, about how we're going to advocate with the new administration it falls on us. It's not Empire State's responsibility. And I think we need to work on this pretty soon. So as you deploy your funds, really important to get impact stories to Colleen. And that's it.
Okay. Great. So I am delighted to see that Judy Messina has joined us. And that was just a little bit of how the sausage is made, Judy, although you're no stranger to the workings of CDFIs. Judy Messina is a senior fellow for Small Business and Entrepreneurship at the Center for an Urban Future in New York City. And she typically writes about these industries, but right now she's embarking on a research project through the lens of CDFIs in particular, and with the hope of shaping policy going forward. So Judy had reached out to me and to the organization, to try to set up interviews with individuals who are CDFI leaders, but I understand that she may have talked to some of you separately, but what I thought would be a great opportunity is to kind of bring everyone together and just have a preliminary discussion, what Judy might be looking for, and especially because we do have people from around the state on this call, not just through the New York City lens. So with that, I will say welcome, Judy. Thank you for joining us, and take it away.
Thank you, Colleen, and thank you everybody for allowing me to participate and reach you in this way. So we're doing a policy piece, as Colleen said, on CDFIs, the challenges they face. I think instigated or came to light because of the critical role CDFIs have played in the pandemic. But that said, you still face enormous challenges. And so we want to highlight those, describe them. Sorry about that. Let me get rid of this. Yes. I'm busy. What's up?
Talk amongst yourselves, everyone.
I'll come down later. Thanks. My apologies, everybody. Life gets very complicated, right, during the pandemic?
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, so we want to take a look at the challenges that you face, the obstacles you face to extending your reach, doing what you do best, maximizing your potential, and what some solutions to those challenges might be. In other words, the policy recommendations. So I've talked to some of you. I see Yankee on my screen. She and I had a long conversation a few weeks ago. And even though we focus at Center for an Urban Future on New York City, the problems that are faced by those institutions and the ones that are faced in other parts of the state, I think are probably very similar. And so whatever policy recommendations we can come up with, hopefully can extend, to others. Let me just give you a quick rundown of what I'm hearing. Money, of course, money is always necessary, but flexible money, not just any dollars, but money that allows you to take the kind of risks you need to take. Technology on both sides of the equation, technology and interaction with your clients, but technology in terms of underwriting, and processing and sort of managing the shop, if you will. And thirdly, the other thing I've been hearing mostly as a challenge is visibility, the need for marketing, the need for people to understand and know that CDFIs are out there, what they do, and how they differ, let us say, from fintechs, which are sometimes the quick way, right, for many small businesses to get money. And if I didn't say this before, we are focusing specifically on small businesses, not mortgage lending or any other aspects of what you do, but specifically on getting money and help to small businesses. So as I said, I've been hearing those three major areas as obstacles and as issues, and we're looking for solutions. So I'd love to hear from you. I know we've only got a few minutes, but if you feel like you can say something now, that'd be great. Otherwise, I'd love to talk to any of you individually, do a phone conversation over the course of the next week, if that would be possible.
Judy, I've just put a message up in the chat that if anybody wants to talk with you offline, they can just get in touch with me and I will, or, put something in the chat and I'll connect you. But while we have you all here, I'm hoping that this will be a fertile discussion of, things that you might like to see support-wise from the state or the federal government, or, obstacles that you feel are standing in your way right now. Anya, I see your hand is up.
Yes, hi. Flexible money, yes. Flexible to support operations, for sure. It's easier to find funds to relend as a lender, but not as many to support our operations to do so. There are quite a few, softwares and compliance issues and expertise that we would need on staff that we struggle to be able to afford.
Right. In fact, yes. In fact, which reminds me, I should have been a little more detailed. But when I said money, right, that's the same I've been hearing. Money for staffing, money for operations, as well as flexible money for lending. So that's clearly something that's a real challenge.
Yeah, and Judy, I would add, and we've spoken already, but I would add the capital for loan loss reserve and interest rate buy down, because we need patient capital, but we also need low cost capital in order to help our borrowers have affordable loan payments over an extended period of time as possible as they're recovering from the pandemic.
Right. Okay. So go ahead, sorry, please.
I was just gonna say, I'm gonna embellish just a bit on the comments you made around marketing. You're absolutely right about that. And we've all recognized for a long time that CDFI is not something that trips off the tongue of the average person. It's hard to identify us because every one of us have a different name. So you don't even know that, if you're looking for a group like mine someplace else, you don't have that continuity of name, of logo, of branding. And I think it also contributes then to people being leery, as they should be, because there are lots of people out there who offer to give you money and, as we do, who are not on the side of the angels, if you will. And so without having some sort of stamp of approval, I think it makes people leery. If I meet you at some event and say, oh, you need a loan for your business? Yeah, sure. My company can do that. Just give me all your personal information.
Right.
It looks a little hinky, even though I really am trying to help. And so by not having this well-known, stamp of approval, good housekeeping seal, oh, they're a CDFI, they're the good guys. The average public does not know that. And so, the marketing, having this broader marketing effort could help people identify us as being on the right team.
Kim, you also said a stamp of approval. So in addition to marketing, are you suggesting that the stamp of approval should come from, a trusted entity, the state, the city, whatever?
I think the stamp of approval is having the CDFI certification, but it doesn't mean anything to the average person because there's a whole education effort that needs to go around that.
Okay.
I would just jump in, if you don't mind. I was just going to jump in on, first of all, yes, money, yes, flexible, yes. But I want to just jump in on Kim's thing because I think I think we're better than your average Joe or Jane at understanding who our clientele might be and kind of communicating complexities of our loan products to an audience that may not be sophisticated in this kind of lending. However, I do still think that, or I wonder if we don't still go over the heads of many. So I really think that the education element in some kind of article would be like a sort of a primer of this is what we need. This is what this means, because I really think that people that we're trying to aim for, like in my case, it would be the resident cooperative boards of low-income HDFCs, Housing Development Finance Corporations in New York City, run by residents who aren't sophisticated and yet are running a multi-million-dollar asset in New York City, right? And so I know you can't be all things to all people, Judy, and God bless you for trying. But I do think there's a little bit of a trying to understand that we've got to elevate make what we do much clearer, maybe in some kind of a mass media or article would be awesome. So thanks, everybody.
Of course. I don't know that I have it in at the New York Times, but could the state do that? Could the city do that? Is there something that they could do to help you get the word out there and put the stamp of approval on you?
You know, Giovanna, I wonder, not to put you on the spot, but I wonder if something, some kind of educational outreach campaign could be part of the next tranche of CDFI funds, if we were to, if we were to find, funding for that. If part of that might be dedicated to not just, serving the unbanked, but also letting people know that this resource exists and helping differentiate us from other lenders.
Right. I mean, I can definitely take that back to the team and discuss it, because we do have the MWBE certified stamp of approval, but and even so, to your point, you still need education around it. The average person doesn't really pay attention to what an MWB is, unless they're your actual business and you kind of know about it. But so yes, I can definitely take that back to the team and see if there's something we can implement.
The issues, and Judy, I find I don't know if others have come across this, but we've had a myriad of conversations with the city over the years about putting their stamp of approval on a credit builder loan. It's the most benign product in most bank and credit union portfolios. I'm telling you, this has been under review by legal for about 10 years. They don't want to, and I said, don't tell people to take out a Spring Bank loan, tell them this is what a great credit builder loan looks like. And here are the institutions that have it, or here's what a great loan looks like. Find somebody who offers it, but yeah, it just reminded me to your point of, can you get the city,
it's almost like,
with the
sorry,
but you're not going to have.
Sorry, it's almost like saying, you're FDIC insured, right? And everyone knows what that means from a bank, but you need that from a CDFI standpoint.
All right, so I do see hands popping up. So let's call on John. I think he came up first.
Just real quickly, Judy, talking about flexibility. My banjo only has one string, and it's all about transportation. Living in Western New York, there is no mass transportation, and the majority of small businesses suffer because of the lack of transportation and affordable financing for that. So you mentioned flexible, and I know you can't be everything to everybody, but a component that would allow for employees to be able to obtain reasonable financing of their vehicles so they can get to work, I think needs to be addressed.
That's an interesting topic. Yes, I hadn't heard that, but good point. Thank you.
Anki, we'll have you go next.
Yes, can you hear me? Hi, Judy. Always a pleasure to hear from you. As you know, I'm a big fan of the reports that come out from Center for an Urban Future. We very often use them for fundraising. I just wanted to alert you that the New York City Small Business Services, they seem to have heard many of our pleas for assistance. So they're about to, I shouldn't say about, but they're in the process of developing a loan fund for CDFIs with 100 million. They're working with CRF that has a lending and marketing platform, and they're looking to see how they can create a pipeline of loan requests using the mayor's office, city council offices to market and promote loans to businesses. So it was actually very exciting. We're going to see, the test is in the implementation, and then CDFIs would get referrals based on our eligibility. And then the best part is the plan is actually, we once these loans are approved, I don't know at what point, but we could sell them back to the city for 95% of the loan amount. So we're excited about that. We get to make some fees. Again, the test is in the implementation, but they seem to have heard, CDFIs, expressing where they need the help.
Well, that's very good news. Terrific. Yes, and selling loans is becoming a much more frequent occurrence with CDFIs. In fact, there's a new fund that just started I believe it's in Chicago, that is buying up loans and selling them to traditional banks to meet their CRA requirement. So interesting. Thanks, Yankee. That's very helpful. Glad to hear it.
Aisha, why don't you go ahead and weigh in?
Sure. I just wanted to elaborate on this need for a seal of approval in some way and becoming more of a household name, not just to drive businesses or activity our way, but to ensure that there's confidence, right? That they know that we're real entities and that everything we're asking for is on the up and up, we're valid. I think that in addition to more effort or from the city and the state around that, any kind of opportunities they may be able to provide to do this. We're raising capital for a DEI effort, sort of as a collective. Can we raise capital for PR? We can go to a top PR firm and really strategize on the most effective ways to get the CDFI name out there. I think New York Times articles are great. I think any op-eds are great, but a lot of our target market doesn't even read. They don't even read what the publications we're thinking about. So what's the way that collectively we can get the CDFI name out there on the radio, on TV? At billboards on the train and the bus and at concerts, parks. So if we had, we individually, we don't have budgets to do this, but if we could make the case, we might be able to raise a budget for something like this, and it would really move the industry forward.
I'm wondering, since we have the luxury of having Babby Jacobs on this call, if Babby's still listening intently, maybe she's multitasking, I don't know. I don't know whether that might be something that a social impact investor or a collaborative of social impact investors might be willing to underwrite, and say that they're going to set aside a certain amount of money for outreach, to hip people to the concept of CDFIs. Is that too far removed, Babby, from the impact that you and your colleagues think you want to have, or might that be something that we might be able to make a case for?
That's a great idea, Colleen. With all the great impact investments that are coming out, I would really like to see it go more mainstream like this, and your work being highlighted is crucial. So I'll certainly get to work and see what I can do. I think that's a great idea, but no promises.
Right, of course. Well, that's great, Babby. I appreciate that feedback, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've heard from at least some of you that one of the products of this, year of wokeness, if we want to call it that, is that there are a lot of CDFIs or other institutions that are seeing massive influxes of capital, but they're not necessarily able to deploy them because they just don't have the infrastructure to get the word out, to build a robust pipeline. So does anybody else want to elaborate on that for Judy, or not so much?
I can a little bit, and I also want to just add to Aisha's comment, which seems pretty obvious as a possible solution. It doesn't help Mr. Felton much at all, but to put things on buses and in subways and on top of taxi cabs, even something as simple as, contact your local CDFI fund for resources in 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Something as simple as that, so that CDFI becomes something that's just known to be an officially, sanctioned lending or borrowing option. So that was just, it seems pretty, to me, it's like, oh, when you said, I was like, oh yeah, duh, the subways and the buses. Yeah, and taxis. Then I just want to say, yeah, we had that issue at Homeownership Lending where we have, a CDFI grant, which was amazing. we had private foundation money. We had cobbled together all of this money and couldn't get it out the door in time, for example, for the grant deadline, which then all of a sudden, I don't know what, the dam broke. I don't know, at some point. So now we're feverishly looking for more capital. But yeah, it was definitely an issue. And we do exclusively share loans in housing development fund corporations and other limited equity housing cooperatives. So there's very much a cash, there's a problem with cash buyers, and especially in, for example, Mitchell-Lama co-ops. One of our challenges with the Mitchell-Lama co-ops is that they're actually more controlled by their managing agents when it comes to filling these apartments, and they don't want to add something more complicated to their to-do list by closing on a loan. So they tend to move down their wait list to the next cash buyer, which of course completely goes against the objective of the program, defeats the purpose. But trying to get them to buy in to the concept of our loan program was quite difficult. I don't know if that's what you're getting at, and I'm not exactly sure why the dam broke, and all of a sudden now we're nervous that we're going to run out of capital.
I guess that's a silver lining, right?
Right. Don't advertise too much.
Right.
May I just add one suggestion to the marketing effort? PayPal and Shopify are also giving out loans, and a lot of small business owners work within these sort of apps, and there's Revel and these sort of places, and perhaps you maybe come up with a marketing campaign that is already in business with the small business owners.
I've heard of that, yeah.
Even if it's just an ad against their tags on social media, because it will pop up as people are using those apps.
Right.
This idea of advertising in credit union land. I'm sorry, Melanie, I jumped in front of you. Do you want to go? So credit unions have identity crisis similar to what CDFIs have. And for years, we have tried to collectively come together, and they've always been unsuccessful. Open Your Eyes to a Credit Union is a national campaign now that they're trying to build. I would love to see it work. Every time I speak somewhere, I have to explain what a CDFI is, and that is frustrating because it takes time away from the true message. So I wish you all the luck in the world. Maybe reaching out to the folks that are running the Open Your Eyes to the Credit Union might give us some insights, but I'm afraid we could spend a lot of money on this and not get very much.
Yeah. So I just want to quickly add, I think Aisha had some great ideas, and some of those ideas, SBS, New York City, I mean, they have the resources and the platform. They are planning to promote, to make better known CDFIs in New York City. It may not help the people in, other parts of the state, but that is the intention. So, we'll see again, the implementation of their efforts, but that is part of the plan.
I do want to go to Melanie, but then I want to ask Judy, is this helpful? I mean, I'm certainly
tremendously helpful.
Oh, good. Okay.
Tremendously helpful. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I might ask Colleen after we're done here. I know we only have a few minutes, but I'd love to talk to some of you individually if I can get your emails from Colleen and follow up to get more detail. I hope I'll email you, and I hope we'll be able to set something up.
That's great. That would be perfect. That's what I was recommending. What I'm also going to do is I will share the recording of this video, and I will also share the text of the chat, because there's been a lot of good resources posted in the chat. So I will share those, maybe not today, but certainly early next week. So let's go to Melanie, and then I have one more announcement to make before people start dropping off.
Okay. Yes, could you share everybody's email with all of us? That'd be great.
Will do.
Micah put up a note about video.
Oh, we lost you, Melanie.
Oh, Micah put up a note about video, and did it years ago with Inclusive, where we did a program. We did great video of 5 credit unions. So it's costly to do it well, but you can post it everywhere. And it should be about the people, obviously our clients. And I'm thinking maybe the Ad Council might be a good conversation. I know somebody who used to work there. I can check and see if she's still there and just see, would she have a conversation with all of us about what free resources would be available?
Can't
So
hurt.
happy to do that.
All right, Giovanna has one more thing to add, but quickly before anybody else goes away, I do want to share my screen one more time because I wanted to let everyone know how much the Responsible Business Coalition appreciated Kim Jacobs' work in passing the New York State Small Business Truth in Lending Act. This is, we've had this certificate on ice since July 23rd, and Kim up and retired, and we haven't been able to present it to her. So I just wanted to say sincere thanks to Kim for her leadership.
You know, Kim has been busy drinking.
I was going to say, you may have had the certificate on ice. I've had a few other things on ice in the past few months, but thank you very much. It was a fight well fought.
Excellent. Oh, we lost Kim's audio, but yes, Kim is referring to a gift certificate that we chipped in and got her for in honor of her retirement. So we are not a glum lot here. All right, Giovanna, have at it.
Okay, so as we were talking about the small business recovery grant, I just want to make the announcement that the limitations for the revenue has gone up from 500,000 to 2.5 million for micro businesses in terms of who can apply. Yeah, I see some faces. So I was hoping that you'd be able to kind of help us get the word out. All of the updates to that contract is actually listed on the website, NewYorkSmallBusinessRecovery.com. But we're hoping that you can reach out to like any of your former clients who may be in need of the service and have them just inform them that the qualifications have gone up and they can apply for grants.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
We are at time. It's 1 o'clock. I know some people have already had to move on to their next meetings. I do want to thank you all very much for participating in our all hands meeting. I do want to encourage you to keep fighting the good fight so that through the power of collaboration, we can foster more vibrant, healthy, and just communities across New York State. Thank you all for your support. If you're not a member, please join. And unless anybody else has anything to add, I will just say thank you and share this information with everyone who participated. Thanks.
Thank you all. Great
you,
meeting.
everybody.
Thank you.